Hello, hello, my friends. I have a Caramel Sundays haul to share with you guys today. These are the candles and other products that I purchased during the September restock. Now, this was their last call for fall. If you follow the brand, you guys know starting in October, they will be releasing some Christmas candles. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of this video. But if you like this one, please make sure you hit the old thumbs up button. Consider subscribing if you are new. And I will have all of the candles that I'm talking about today listed down below, although unfortunately you're not going to be able to get your hands on these anymore. Those of you who have been shopping with the brand know that they run their business model a little bit differently than some of the other brands that I typically shop with. They do a monthly restock. They let their customers know, hey, this is the date, the time. Usually it's always a 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next restock will be October 19th, but this one happened on, I believe it was September 14th. These candles were poured and shipped from Monroe, Georgia. Small business, you know all the deal, yada, yada, yada. Let's get into the good stuff here because I had quite the wish list going for the last fall restock. Spoiler alert, you guys, I did not get my hands on everything that I had hoped to, but I did get my hands on some products that I was really excited about. So why don't we go ahead and start out though? Funny thing happened. I actually bought something by mistake. Now, I did want to repurchase the laundry soap. However, you guys know my favorite fragrance is Plain Jane. I thought I clicked the button for Plain Jane. Maybe it wasn't available. I don't know. But somehow when I opened my box yesterday, or I just didn't look at my order well enough, somehow I purchased it in the fragrance Luxe Linen. So that's totally fine. Luxe Linen has fragrance notes of jasmine, violet, cedar, and vanilla. And this is very much like your clean, fresh laundry type of scent. It almost kind of reminds me of like old school Downy or something like that, like one of the original fragrances. I like it. It's very clean. Personally, you guys, I do use the laundry soap for my sheets and my towels. I have a family of 5, so it's just not economical for me to use this for all of our clothing. But oh man, you guys, could I just put a side note here? I feel like I have been trying to catch up on laundry for like 3 days. I don't know what it is this week. I am having a really hard time keeping up to date with all of the laundry in my house, but I am excited to wash my sheets and towels with this. The fragrance lingers for a nice amount of time, but it's not overwhelming, and it's non-tox. My family really likes this product. So I had intended to purchase Plain Jane, but I ended up getting Luxe Linen. I'm not mad about it. But yeah, that was the first product that I wanted to show you. I did end up purchasing 2-wick candles. Now, we've got to talk about one of these 2-wicks. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about Apple Truffle. Now, you guys know I actually already had this fragrance in a 4-wick. I did a dedicated post-burn review on the 4-wick. Let's go ahead and look at the fragrance notes on Apple Truffle. They are top notes of apple and warm oats, mid notes of butterscotch cream, and a base note of cinnamon sugar. Now, Caramel Sundays did already address this. You can tell that this has kind of like a yellowish tinge to the soy wax here, and it is just the nature of the oils that are used in this candle. Interestingly enough, the 4-wick, I don't recall being this color. And you know what? I should have brought the 4-wick. So you guys will be seeing in my empties, did I finish the 4-wick of this already? I believe I did. I believe I already finished the 4-wick of this. So it should be in my empties. But here's what I'm going to tell you guys. Okay, I watched some of my fellow reviewers. I'm thinking mainly of McKenna from the Joyful Candle. They reviewed the 2-wick. I'm going to tell you guys, the 2-wick smells different than the 4-wick. The 2-wick, I'm still picking up like that same, I had said in the 4-wick that fragrance to me definitely smelled like apples and oats. It kind of reminded me of an apple crisp. It was a beautiful fragrance. I said it was my favorite new like fall gourmand type of fragrance that I have discovered this season. This one, I get that same, almost like I get more of the butterscotch in here. So I am sorry, McKenna. I commented on your video and I was like, I don't smell butterscotch at all. But this one I do. This to me has the very similar base as the Truffle Butter Cookie, which I believe when they were initially launching this fragrance, I think Sierra had said that they had a similar base that the Apple Truffle and the Truffle Butter Cookie did. And it's funny because Truffle Butter Cookie and even this one, this is why I'm trusting the process on this, that butterscotch note or like that like butterscotch cream in the middle comes across almost kind of sour to my nose when I smell it on cold. However, when it is burning, I know that I loved the truffle butter cookie. And just a little bit of a spoiler alert, that fragrance is coming back in the holiday launch that's happening next month. If you want a fragrance that will perform at a 10, now you guys keep in mind the size of my home. The truffle butter cookie, just for the record, you guys, has been the strongest caramel sundaes candle that I have burned since I started purchasing from the brand a year ago. I did have truffle butter cookie last year. I had it in a 2-wick and I did a dedicated review on it. And I said that that one is one of the few candles that got a score of a 10 for me. It threw throughout my entire home. I had it out here in the living room. And not only did it throw throughout my home, but it lingered for 2 hours. So I'm just going to give you guys a little bit word of caution. If you are eyeing that truffle butter cookie, if you have a small space, the 2-wick is going to perform just fine for you. Maybe if you have a larger space, I think they're putting it in the 4-wick as well as the big 150-ounce vessel. But anyways, where I'm going with that is this one smells different on cold than the 4-wick did. So I don't know if it's just that the circumference of the vessel, like that it's a smaller vessel, that the oils might be more concentrated, like here at the top. I don't know what it is, but we shall see upon burning. I did love this fragrance so much in the 4-wick that I did want a backup of it in a 2-wick. I really love burning this fragrance with their coffin cake, which is like a nice spice cake. So if you have any kind of like cinnamon, sugar type of fragrances, this one goes really nicely. So I did get apple truffle. I missed out on Autumn Jam, you guys. You guys know that I was a huge fan of that one. I talked about it on the wish list video, said I was going to try to get another one, but also it would have been a repurchase for me. And so I was okay, like if I didn't get my hands on it. But that one was gone before I was able to get my hands on it. However, a fragrance that kind of popped onto my radar late in the game, I should say, and was added to my wish list as kind of a last minute addition is the fragrance Graveyard. Now, Graveyard has fragrance notes, top notes of apples, sweet ginger, almond macaroons, mid notes of juniper, cranberry, crunchy leaves, and a base note of cedar, amaretto, and vanilla. And I see why people were excited to get this one back. This is nice. This is not, this to me kind of smells like a mix of like, this is like 75% kind of like fall fresh, kind of in that vein, like I would say of like, it's not the same fragrance, but like in that same vein that you would think of like leaves or autumn. There's kind of like an outdoor freshiness to it, but then there's a tiny bit of gourmand in here. I'm smelling some of that almond macaroon. What else am I smelling here? Amaretto, vanilla. But yeah, there's also something about this that is kind of like sweet and outdoorsy. Very unique fragrance. I love it. It's not too conceptual for me. It's not too dark. I was a little concerned with the title being Graveyard, that I was like, oh, is it going to lean like kind of like too dark and earthy, sometimes like Kringle does with their Halloween. But no, this is really nice. I have a feeling that I am going to love this one. I'm actually planning on lighting this one up later on this afternoon and this evening. But yeah, really glad that I was able to get my hands on Graveyard. Now, the fragrance that I actually plan to burn with Graveyard, and this one I initially had on my wish list to get in a 2-wick, but then the more that I saw the fragrance notes, and I think Sierra talked about it a little bit more, I was like, you know what? I have a feeling I'm going to want that one in a 4-wick, and I made the right call. It is the fragrance FALL-OWEEN. So we have fragrance notes on FALL-OWEEN. Our top notes of Belgian waffles, pistachio cream, mid notes of sugar cookies, and base note of autumn spices and butter. Now, I'm going to tell you on cold sniff here, the first notes that I get are that pistachio note that Caramel Sundaes is just known for. They do such a beautiful pistachio note. It's my favorite. Their take on it is my favorite in the business. I absolutely love it. But it's funny, the more that I'm sniffing it, and I believe it was, is it Sentimental Reviews? I think you've commented and said, there's something about this one when it is burning, more of that waffle note comes out. It's more of like a gourmand when it's burning. And she said that it kind of reminds her a little bit of pumpkin waffles from Kringle. So, you know, once I get to burning this, I'll give you guys some feedback on it. But this is a definitely a gourmand fragrance. I'm getting more of that waffle note now. Initially, when I opened this yesterday, after UPS had dropped it off, I was definitely getting the top note of pistachio. That was like the first thing that I smelled. Another fragrance that I think that this will burn really nicely with, I have a 4-wick of the Cranberry Pistachio fragrance, and I think the two of them are going to complement each other really nicely. But this is good. I like this. Now, I really loved their oat milk and pistachio. To date, that is still my #1 fragrance. John and Sierra, please, please, please bring that fragrance back at some point. I don't know when. I don't care when. Please bring oat milk and pistachio back, because that is still my #1 favorite pistachio fragrance that Caramel Sundays has done. But I feel like this one might be in the vein of like the pistachio pecan pudding that I had, which was a surprise hit for me. So FALL-OWEEN, I was really excited to get my hands on. Another fragrance that I did do a dedicated review on the 2-wick, and I decided to purchase it in a 4-wick because it is a dupe of a very popular Bath & Body Works fragrance. It is the fragrance Fall Cider. Fall Cider has fragrance notes, top notes of spiced cider, mid notes of tart apple and caramel, base note of warm brown sugar and clove. This, if you love Bath & Body Works Cider Lane, this is Caramel Sundays version of it, and I absolutely love it. I have actually already burned through a complete 2-wick. You'll see that in my empties video this weekend, but this one's just so good. You get that brown sugar, you get the caramel, but the caramel is like almost, it's like that gooey, I don't know. Oh, it's just so good. Love this. The apple is perfectly balanced between sweet. It's not overly tart. I just love this one. This is a fragrance that, again, I've loved year in, year out when I purchased more from Bath & Body Works. And so I am definitely glad to have this in my collection to burn again. I did miss out on, what was it, Cashmere Pumpkin or Pumpkin Cashmere. That one went so quickly, and I was like, it's just not meant to be for me this season. However, the other fragrance that you guys know was my #1 priority to get during this restock was Crisp Country Apple. Crisp Country Apple has fragrance notes, top notes of green leaves and pear, mid notes of apple, base note of vanilla. Now, I had the cleaner. I think I went through 3 bottles of the household cleaner that they had in this fragrance. And every time, I know I sound like I'm beating the dead horse here. Every time I have cleaned my kitchen with that fragrance, like I've cleaned up, for the evening, somebody from my family walks into the kitchen and says it smells so good in there. My son in particular, my 13-year-old son, who is he's high functioning, but he's on the autism spectrum. Every time he walks in, he's like, it smells good in here. What'd you spray? And I'm like, you know what I sprayed, sir. And he's like, I know, but I just like to hear you say it. He likes to hear me say Crisp Country Apple, the spray. But yeah, this smells so, so good. It's very, it's different. This is like fresh apple. There's no caramel. There's no spices. There's nothing like bakery or gourmand with it. This is just like a freshly picked apple right off of the tree, and you just bit into it. There's a slight, I had mentioned that this kind of reminded me slightly of the apple leaf candle that was in the 3-wicks, those painted 3-wicks over at Kringle. I think those were released like a year and a half ago. That one has a little bit more woody element to it, but this you also get a little bit of that pear note in here. So I was actually looking through my collection and thinking, okay, what am I going to burn with this? Like I could go with like, again, coffin cake or something like that, but I'm always trying to use up my collection. And I suddenly decided, you know what I think this is going to go nicely with? I actually think this is going to pair really nicely with leaf peeper from Kringle, or if you have Bath & Body Works leaves or one of those fragrances. I think that this Crisp Country Apple is going to complement that scent really well. I've always been burning that one with either Always Autumn or Autumn Amber from Kringle. They're very similar. So I thought, well, now I have another candle that I can burn with leaf peeper, and that is my plan. So I think I'm actually planning after this video, I'm going to light those two up together and see what we got going on here in my house. So that was it in terms of what I was able to get my hands on. I did want to try the fabric enhancer spray. Those went so quickly. And John and Sierra say that they are bringing those back for the October restock, but they said that that is one of those ones that if it's on your wish list, you're going to have to probably prioritize to buy that first, because those went really, really quickly. They are bringing back the all-purpose cleaner, and honestly, I think I'm going to go for the all-purpose cleaner over the fabric spray. Just because, like, I like the fabrics, I like the idea of the fabric spray, but truthfully, I don't really use that a whole lot. Like, we have a cat who's indoor, outdoor, but I don't have dogs in my home. And I know that a lot of people who have dogs in particular tend to use the fabric spray because, you know, you have dog beds and stuff like that. And truthfully, they can be a little stinky. So I think people use those to like freshen up their spaces. But again, I don't really feel like I have like need for that to use all of the time. I mean, maybe I could use it on like our mattresses and stuff like that. But if that one sticks around, maybe I'll look into that. But speaking of what is coming back for, or what will be available in the, next month's restock, starting with Christmas scents, they are bringing back some really great fragrances. I already mentioned the truffle butter cookie. The 2-wick was a barn burner for me in my house. So be aware that if you want to get that in the 4-wick or the 150 ounce, you might want to make sure that you've got a big open space to do that, because it's probably it's probably going to be like, whoa, really, really strong. Another fragrance that they are bringing back is the Perfect Christmas in the 4-wick. I definitely want to get my hands on that one because it's just, it's funny. I bought that one from them last year in the 2-wick, and I really enjoyed it. I actually, the Perfect Christmas from Bath and Body Works leans a little bit too much pine with marshmallow in the background, where I feel like the Perfect Christmas from Caramel Sundays is more marshmallow with the pine in the background. I just like the way that they do it a little bit better. So the 4-wick in that, I think, is going to be my #1 priority. I'll do my wish list video as we get closer to the restock. But the other one that is my top priority that I am looking at, they have one coming out in a specialty 50-ounce vessel called the Holiday. And it's funny, probably maybe 6 months ago now, I was DMing with Sierra back and forth, and I asked her, I said, hey, do you guys have a fragrance similar to Yankee Candle's Home for the Holidays? That is the most nostalgic fragrance for me. And she said, I don't think so. And so I told her, I said, well, look up the fragrance notes, see if you guys can ever, put that together. And she's like, oh, that sounds really good. And so I have been told that the Holiday is supposed to be inspired by Yankee Candle's Home for the Holidays. So you guys know, if you've been with my channel any length of time, that was the fragrance my mom always burned at Christmas time. My mom passed away 8 years ago. And so it's just a very, very nostalgic. It is the most nostalgic fragrance for me at Christmas. So those two, I think, are like the top priorities that I want to get. And then there's a couple of other fragrances that I see are returning that I did have last year. I'm trying to think. I actually looked in my collection, and I still have half a vessel left of 2 Christmas fragrances. One I don't see on the restock list yet, but the other one is I think it's called Home for Christmas. That one smells a lot like Bath and Body Works Winter. It's like their take on Bath and Body Works Winter. So I'll make sure to do a dedicated post-burn review for you guys on that one prior to the restock to see if maybe that might interest you. And then you guys know I've already done a dedicated review on the 4-wick of Bakery on Main. But Bakery on Main will be returning in the Big Mama Jamma, the 150-ounce vessel, which I do have one of those from the March or April restock earlier this year. I have burned through about halfway. I kind of savor it, but you guys know I'm a huge fan of Bakery on Main. So yeah, I have a feeling that that one's going to go quickly. So anyways, you guys, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel if you want to see, what will be on my wish list going forward. That's just kind of like initially what I've seen. Those two are like the top 2, but I really need to go back and hone in my list to see what else I might want to try. But those are just two fragrances, the holiday and the perfect Christmas, that I know are definitely on my wish list going into the October restock. So feel free to let me know in the comment section down below if you have purchased any of these candles. If you happen to have had apple truffle in the 4-wick, and then if you purchased it in the 2-wick, can you let me know if you're smelling a little bit of differences with those two? Because my nose definitely is. I'm not mad about it, but it is kind of interesting that I'm like, I'm just picking up on different notes on cold. So again, please hit thumbs up if you found this video helpful or enjoyed it. Consider subscribing if you're new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.